See you, Chief.
Right. We're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Let everybody log in to the webinar. All right. Good to see some new names and some familiar names. We're happy to have you. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Webinar Wednesday. We're so happy to have you back for our Webinar Wednesday events. And today we're going to be talking with Ed and Brad. We're going to talk about marketing strategies for product pricing adjustments. A few weeks back, Ed did the presentation, and we're basically taking his presentation he gave a couple weeks ago about new product development, and we're bringing in Brad to add his comments on how to market that, your new product. So before I hand this over to Ed and Brad for their conversation, I do want to go over a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, this is a podcast style, and we do welcome your questions. Down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a bar, and on the bar, there'll be 2 speech bubbles with a Q&A underneath them. What I would love for you to do is go ahead and click on that, and then as you have questions throughout the presentation, type your questions in there. There may be times where the question requires a little extra communication from you, and at that point, I may ask you to ask your question live. If you have any questions that are directed towards me on our format or technical issues, I'm happy to help you in the background. You can reach me directly through the chat bubble down at the bottom of your screen as well. And just a reminder, this presentation is being recorded, so please feel free to share with your friends and colleagues so that you can continue to watch this beyond today if you want to come back and visit. Our presenters today are Ed and Brad. Brad is with Reality Concepts. We've been working with him for years. He specializes in full service website design, programming, digital marketing, and design codes, and host websites for home builders. We've had several communications and discussions about social media and how to make sure that we're promoting our home building businesses to the best of our ability. We also have Ed Hauck, who you've seen before. He's one of our senior consultants, and he excels in helping builders reduce direct construction costs, streamline operations, and guide product design toward efficiency and cost control. This is his favorite topic, so it's hard to get him to reel it in. So take advantage of your time with him today and Brad, because they both love talking about these things, and feel free to ask questions again while we're doing our presentation. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Ed and Brad. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Emma Jane. So a few weeks back, we did this webinar. Really, the concept there was, where do the buyers go? What was the effect on interest rates to our current market? And after that webinar, my phone lit up. I probably had 5 or 6 different builders I spoke with. And each one, we started talking about strategies on how to do this. I'm not repeating what I did last week, but from those conversations with a couple of the builders, I called Brad. Brad and I have known each other when I was still building. I got handed marketing, and I didn't know squat from marketing. I'm a builder. And I hired Brad, and he helped me drive my web traffic probably up 5-fold in a few months. So everything I've ever learned about that came from Brad. So after we had this conversation with a couple of builders on reducing their price point, and they said, I'm just not getting any web hits. So I'm going to set this up. We're not going through my presentation from last week. I want Brad's going to comment on how we can make this work. And Emma Jane said this is a very interactive type of a session. So feel free to hit Emma Jane up and ask us questions. So Brad, what I did last time was talked about the effect of what happens to our pricing models because of interest rates. So essentially, medium houses in my market at about 500,000, give or take. Well, our buyers got hit by about 25% less buying power. So now, once I start lowering my pricing, am I reaching those buyers? So Brad, tell me some strategies as I do this. I would call Brad and say, help me drive some traffic here. What can I do? So Brad, tell us some strategies from your perspective when I'm doing this, what you can do to help me.
So we did we've been tracking for builders a tool which is in the set of slides that I gave. I don't know if it's in there, but from Google Trends. And basically Google Trends gives you a trending of a particular search term. And we've been plugging in new homes for sale for months now to kind of see where it's all going after, the big COVID bubble. And in that tracking, we're seeing that the demand is still there. And, a lot of the home builders saying, well, it just seems like everything dried up. The demand is right on pace with about what it was right before COVID. So really nothing's changed. It's just the pricing and what families can afford has changed. And so what I found is working with home builders is that the marketing is broken up into two different areas. And that's one of the things that home builders always ask, where do I put my money and how much do I put in there? And, those kind of things. And there's two types of advertising, but we want to balance out that advertising. And basically, from our point of view, we want to cover 4 major areas. Now, how detailed there's the slide right there. And if you take a look at that red line that comes across, this is tracking the demand for the search term all the way back to 2004 when Google got started. If you go to that 2009 dip, that's only a 17 percentile. That's a demand for that search term from 0 to 100, 100 representing the highest demand. October 2021 was, a nice little peak because low interest rates, people, wanted new homes, etc. But if you take a look right after, at the very end of that graph to the very far right-hand side right there, that December of 2023 demand at the bottom, but then it bounced right back in January. And you see those peaks, those are the highest peaks back over to the left where the red line is from 2017, 18, and 19. Okay, so what does it say? It says the demand's still there. People are still looking for new homes. It's just some families, basically what Ed said, about 25% are priced out of what they thought they could afford. Some have given up. Some are still looking. Some are trying to figure it out. And it's our job to work with, the home building community to fulfill that in between, I can't afford maybe what I thought I could and move up or whatever, and to find something that's going to meet their needs. And so there are 4 areas that we want to focus on. Obviously, it's going to be organic search. Organic search is your website and how it comes up in a list in competitive comparison to other websites. The other thing is we want to be involved.
So Brad, one
Okay.
second. I'm flashing back to everything you taught me 10 years ago.
Right.
Explain to them a little bit about what organic means.
Okay. When we do a search on the internet and we type in new homes for sale at the very top of Google, and the reason we focus on Google because it still represents 75 to 85% of all searches. If we take a look, the very top 4, and that's on our phones and on our desktops, are going to be paid results, sponsored results. The last items are going to be, they're going to be the organic results, meaning Google's going to look at the website, make a comparison to other websites and say, this one's doing great, this one's not doing so great, and rank them just like you would anything else, from the best to the worst on that list. And so generally you're going to see Zillow, New Home Source, and some of those pass-through search engine websites, they're new home search engines at the very top in your market for the most part. And you can add the term new homes for sale in, and you could fill in the blank, for this area, Denver, Colorado, and see what you come up with, or new homes for sale near me. And all those things will give you some results. When you go down, you're going to find the very first home builder. That means their site is the best in representation against other home builders. And so that's what organic search is. It's a effort that you make on the site, whether you're hiring a professional or not, or it's a effort that you're making, with the quality of the site to begin with. There we go. And that gives you the exact results right there, Ed. So top is New Home Source. These are all organic results. You notice the word sponsored isn't on there. New Home Source, Zillow, we've got Realtor.com, and then our very first one is a KB Home. This is in our area for Denver. Okay, so that's your organic result there. So you want to be involved in that. And there's some technical things that have to be done on the site, but there's practical things there. Consistent blogging, adding content, making sure your homes are updated. Those are things that are critical to the site. And there's other
So Brad,
strategies.
how much does organic cost?
Organic costs you nothing based on the quality of the site that you have, but hiring a professional to move it along faster depends on, you know, the aggressiveness of the market, but you're generally going to be looking at anywhere from 700 these days. I'm just giving you a range, but $700 a month to, you know, it could be anything beyond that. So, but we'll just say for this conversation, $700 is kind of where things start with the organic search. Does that kind of answer that question, Ed?
Absolutely. It's just
Okay.
not the pay per click kind of thing, which can get pricey pretty quick for our smaller volume builders.
That's correct. Yep. Yep. Organic is a really good strategy, especially when you don't have massive budgets. You're being found on the quality of the website, which you have direct control over. So
Absolutely.
So organic is number one. The next one would be paid search efforts. And those are broken up into transactional, meaning I want to sell houses. Okay. And I want to brand. I want to get my brand out there. Okay. Transactional advertising is critical to get your homes out there. And the problem is you've built a great home. You've got it at the right price in the right area. But if they can't find those homes and that's where they're doing their searches, then you've got a problem. Okay. Because you're not getting those homes off the book, so to speak. And that's where transactional advertising comes in. The main focus on that, they're the kings. Google AdWords is a very, very effective tool. And when we do our advertising for the builders in this market, we are focused only on selling the homes. So it's very precise. It covers an exact area. You can geofence it, control where these ads are going out. You can use price points to pre-qualify them. And that doesn't mean you're saying, home for sale at 245.5 or whatever the number is, I'm just throwing something out there. But you could just say, homes from the, that gives them an idea. If they're a new home buyer, they're like, oh, I can't afford $700,000 a year, and they won't click the ad. The advantage with AdWords is you're only paying when somebody clicks the ad. So you don't really have to worry about impressions or anything else like that. It gives you a huge advantage with not that big of a budget. And that's the nice thing about it. And like I said in this slide, $500 a month can make a big difference. We're already seeing that with a builder in Oklahoma, Justice Homes. They don't build that many homes a year. We started them off with $500 and they've increased their leads in and interest to their homes by about 3 times what they were with just an organic effort. So the two combined work very well.
Brad, anything for that builder in particular, the $500, anything that's you can share? I don't want to give any trade secrets here, but anything you could share that help our other builders that are on the call that might help them drive some traffic. We're seeing a lot of builders, that they're just not getting any calls, or not getting any hits. And in the same market, I got builders that are getting, tons of hits. It's just all over the place.
So a lot of that is based on visibility. And so we talked about the paid advertising efforts. We talk about the organic efforts, paid advertising efforts. There's another one that is just virtually at no cost. And that's your email or e-blast marketing. And I do put that in the transactional category. When we talk about e-blasts, what we're saying is that, okay, some of these families are trying to get their credit in line. They're trying to get a home sold. They're, potentially moving to the area. And you basically want to attack the actual home buyer with a consistent e-blast about once a month. Now, the subject matter for those people should just basically be twofold. One is giving them what we call something of value, like, the best way to get ready for spring, or the best ways to, winterize your house, just in a blurb. Okay, you don't need to give them the whole article. Then they click to the website. We want them to go to the website. Then give them some good deals on pricing, or let them know about, each of these communities, etc. The purpose of this is, I think of like a refrigerator magnet. You may not need Fred's plumbing and heating today, but when you need them, you really need them. And so you're front and center in their inbox consistently. Every email, if you're not collecting emails from the leads that you are getting, okay, or from past lists, then literally you're throwing money out the window. Those e-blasts, email marketing, drip campaigns, whatever you want to call them, are essentially low cost. An account is 20, 30 bucks. Set up a template. Those are pretty easy. That's definitely something that we do as a company with every one of our builders, and we consistently send out e-blasts, and those e-blasts make a huge difference. We've seen numerous times where, especially somebody that's a custom home builder and does things like additions and things like that. It's been on the family's mind for a long time. We sent out an e-blast and I get a phone call that says, hey, I got 2 deals, just like that. So it's somebody they already know, but they kind of forgot about you possibly. And that's one of the reasons for those. The second area that's on this list is realtor hot sheets. Realtors don't have the time to really read through all that information. They just want to know what the homes are, what your offer is, and how you're going to help them. So if you've got any incentives to them, fantastic. If you don't, that's okay too. They just need a hot sheet. Again, it's about being in the top of their inbox and being ready to go. So we want to have that ready for them, available, showing price reductions, any kind of realtor offers, things like that, Ed.
So Brad, the price reduction specials, I was talking with the builder last week. He's offering a buy down. He's offering a buy down. I think it got him down to 4.99%, and it cost a pretty good chunk of money. And he was getting no hits on it, which makes no sense at all. So 2 things I'd like you to talk about is, one, if you're doing something like that, any kind of special, coming up through the Shinn world, I'm not a big fan of discounting. Discounting is just, giving away free money and losing profit. But how would you advertise if you do have, some sort of buy down program? That also really helps on the resale. I always say the resale market reacts faster than builders. Mm-hmm. So talk about, one is any kind of specials that you can promote to drive traffic. 4.99 is crazy and should be making the phone ring off the hook. But also we're in a lot of competition with resale. A lot of times the resale market, the people are back against the wall. They're cutting prices and running to wherever they're going. So could you touch base on those 2 for me?
Sure. So so you've done all the work, you've gotten that pricing of the house where you need it to be, and now you have an opportunity as the builder to pay to get that down to a certain point. What we found a couple of things, because we've been working on doing exactly that with multiple builders since basically since October, kind of seeing all this stuff coming together the way it is, knowing that we're going to have a pretty long December, that was very, very uncomfortable for everybody. Here's what we found, that the buy down is tough for the consumer to understand, okay? Especially if your market is first-time home buyers. They just don't get it. They don't understand, they might have a good parent or a financial advisor. Oh my goodness, 4.99, that's better than I've ever seen in my life. That will help, but it isn't going to get, them off their seat. What they need to understand is payments as low as, and that's taking
Correct.
They need to take a page right out of the car market, right? Okay. If you told me that my car was going to cost me $55,000, I would probably freak out. But if you told me my payments as low as $700 a month, and that's kind of the budget where I want to be, then that works. So in this particular situation, as we're talking, you need to have that advertised. You need to have a platform that will advertise those homes with payments as low as. Now, let's just say that your buy down is not permanent. Okay, that's fine too. Then you do payments as low as blank, in the first year, or you can have an asterisk on there with the disclaimers. Once they come in, you can sell to that point and let them know what those restrictions are. But the biggest thing is, with especially first-time home buyers and even with move-up buyers, it's hard for them to get their head around 1% interest equals X number of dollars. In that previous example, Ed, you showed the interest rate went up by, I think, 3 points is what I remember. And the price of the home, yeah, there we go. So 6.6 from 3.5, almost twice the house payment, almost. So $950, that's a lot to any family. So 30% increase in that. So payments as low as will make a bigger difference. And, you know, you look at that $3,100 and you compare that against rent in certain markets, that's a good deal, you know, because most rents are for a family, you know, $2,500 a month in that range. So, yeah.
So a couple things, Brad. One is talking to one builder who's definitely up against rentals in their market. So that has to be a huge advantage trying to compete with a renter that you could actually be in the house for the same price. So only talk about that a little bit. And then I want to jump back to some of Zillow apps, anything like that you know, how to maximize that relationship as well.
Okay. So when you're up against rentals in your area, okay, you do need to get an idea of what the average rental price is per month and get an idea of if there's a lot of rentals in the area, then in general, those rents have been increasing steadily. And my question is, that's one of the first research things that I do, is I want to find out, is that rental rate increasing at a faster rate than inflation? You know, meaning that we've had really high inflation, but are we literally taking a year's worth of a lease and then increasing it up to, more than 10, 20, or 30% more per month? And I've seen a lot of these rental companies doing exactly that, is that they've been taking advantage of, basically what they feel like they didn't get in COVID and jacking up every time. And so you've got to sell against what that is. One, okay, people think if they're going to buy a house, they're stuck with it forever. And that's not the case. It's a very good deal if you're going to stay in it. It's still a good deal, period, even at the 2 to 3 year mark.
This is Rocky Mountain Cancer Center calling to remind.
And basically, from that standpoint, you got to remember that if you're going to stay in that house for 5 years-ish, okay, you're going to come out way ahead. You got equity in the home. You're going to make a little money on it with the way things are going. You've got, a stable platform, knowing what your budget is. You've got your property that's yours, that you own. And so highlighting the benefits of home ownership. I know, I hate to go back this far, but my dad told me way long ago, you can never go wrong with buying a house. And so he made sure, as a way to help my family out, that, we bought a house instead of, some of the other options that were renting a condo, renting a house, or any kind of rental situation. That's in this country, that's where wealth is built from the average person. And so those are things that you have to highlight. And one of the things that helps too, and I know we've talked about this in the past, is you may need to do a few, now we have the Zoom technology, understanding renting versus owning classes. That might help as well. That's another good strategy. Become the advocate in your community for these families or individuals that are trying to get into homes.
Absolutely. I want a couple more topics, then we'll start opening up to some questions and answers. And the very last slide on your presentation, I want you to wrap up on that, on the summary. So we talked about, I like your thought on the rental. I was talking to a prospect the other day that this prospect, for myself trying to build a house for them, they're looking at the housing prices. The housing prices are the best deal it has been in years. So this guy's logic was, he's buying a home and renting a mortgage. It will change, but he's trying to get into your point, to get into the game now, because it's going to go up later on.
Right.
The other thing you and I talked about the other day with the builder is the value of getting videos on websites.
Yeah, I've just spent an hour with a builder just now, and let's talk a little bit about the video strategy. There's two strategies, and it depends on how much time and effort and money you have as a builder. Strategy one is, I sell a lot of homes, we're super busy, I don't have time for this. Then in that particular situation, this is a branding play. That's what you want to think about. And you want to, in this case, I'm not saying that's the case, but in this case, you're going to want to make sure that you hire a media company, that you put together an ongoing relationship, that you say, I'm going to do, 2 to 4 videos a month, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, they're going to handle it. Or the other strategy that I use is, we're going to do 3 commercials this first 6 months, and then 3 more commercials a little bit later. And I don't mean commercials in the standard sense, but a little more informational. The reason I'm telling you that is because that's a strategy that costs more money, and that's what the big boys do, all the publicly held builders, compared to the private builders, because they have the time and the money and the resources to do that. The second one, which is more of an organic effort, but it does even better, is to produce what I would call is 2 videos a month is the minimum, but 4 videos would be amazing. And that's right up there with the major content creators. And you're going to pick subject matters about the area, about your homes, about little pieces that make your homes high quality, or any other little subject matter that you want to educate people to. Those are more organic, and people these days really tolerate a slightly lower production quality compared to a higher informational value. So here's the platforms that you get to use this in. You get to use it on Facebook, you get to use it on Instagram, you get to use it on Google, YouTube, you get to use it on your Google business page. And you also got, which isn't on this list, but you got TikTok, which is huge. Please, at this point, don't worry about whether or not it'll be here or not be here. We'll worry about that when it gets here, one way or another. The bottom line is, for us, we're getting the brand, the homes, and everything else out there. This is kind of taking a page right out of the Realtor Playbook 101. You got to remember, a realtor's got to promote the homes and promote the actual brand, which is that realtor themselves. So that's not where I got the idea from. I've been working on this for a long time, but realtors are very successful at doing it. I am truly not seeing home builders do it. Now, you say, well, I can't edit video, this, that, and the other. Plenty of companies out there be happy to edit that video at a very low cost. Provide them the video, they edit it together, you got a finished product, boom, off to the races you go. It's very effective. Is it going to sell homes immediately? No. Is it going to create loyalty to the brand? Over time, it definitely will. Paid or organic efforts will work.
So Brad, yeah, I hear you. I mean, first of all, the videos I think are ingenious. They're extremely easy. We're competing against, in some cases, a lot of you in my world, I'm competing against the publics as well. They're tough. They have huge budgets. But honestly, creating little videos takes a little bit of practice. This little device here, it's $500.
Yeah,
it's simple. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. And all you got to do is try it a few times. A couple takes. It's Brad's point. Short, sweet. Have your information. It's not hard to do. So with that, anything else, Brad? Otherwise, let's open up to questions and answers.
Yeah, I'm just going to say this on that video topic, and I kind of realized this after working with my home builders as we talk. The main question that keeps coming up is, how do I get there from here? And so I guess I would say let Emma Jane know that if you want to do a webinar on how to produce home builder videos, in other words, not literally how to edit them kind of thing, how to acquire the resources and what you're looking at and so on. If you want that, if that's something you'd be interested in, let her know, and we'll put together a webinar for that, and we'll put together a worksheet for kind of a step-by-step process. Okay, and I'm talking about both you doing it yourself, if that's what you want to do, or the other option of finding the right people at the right price. Okay,
Brad, I'll sign up. Okay.
Okay. Now I'm nervous.
Um,
You're leading me?
so it's really not that hard. It's a matter of getting used to talking to yourself in a room. And after a while, you get over the fact you feel crazy talking to yourself, but it's not that bad after a little bit of practice. Emma Jane, do we have any questions? Anybody need to raise their hand?
We do have a couple questions. And if we need a follow-up question, I will ask them to verbalize their question. But our first question is from Michael. He wants to know if you can geofence in two totally different areas of the country, i.e. the home city and then the city that the data shows a large influx of people moving from, like San Jose to Austin, for example.
Okay. Totally yes. There's two types of geofencing technology. One geofencing technology is my ads will only show in this geographical area. That's one method. So let's just say that you're targeting California as a good example, and we want to bring in people that are relocating from California to Austin as an example. So in that particular case, we would focus on an ad that would appeal to that particular area, and it would be specific to that campaign. So it would be its own unique ad, and it would have a outer boundary. Now, the other kind of geofencing, which I've seen some advertisers promote, which from transactional, meaning, selling homes isn't as effective, is I travel into a geographic area, and then whatever media, let's just use Instagram as an example. And I know we've all seen this. You get some sort of a notification on your phone from Instagram that says, hey, you might be interested in this. That's a different type of, so that's kind of a push advertising, and think of it going into the grocery store and advertising that eggs are 50% off, which would be amazing. And that people are coming in for that within a particular area. Or the other option is seeing a display for Oreo cookies, which is more of a push, and people may be interested in it and they may not be. So one is more of a branding play and doesn't sell as many homes, which is the travel to an area type of geofencing. And the other geofencing, which is more effective, is I was interested in new homes. I typed it in, boom, there comes up, this particular ad that relates to what I'm looking for. So yes, the answer to that is absolutely yes.
Excellent, thank you. And Michael, I hope that helped. If you have additional questions, feel free to ask. This question comes from Cindy. She is wanting to know, what is the best do-it-yourself video program to use that can be uploaded to all different formats?
There's a good question there. There's a Adobe product. I'm going to think of the name. I'm going to call it like Adobe Premiere Lite, but that's not the name of it. I'm gonna dodge the question. I'm sorry, Cindy, but I do like that product from Adobe. I played with it. It's super interesting. I'll have to look it up, what the actual name is, but the best video editing program out there is the one that you're going to use. So that's, and this is my evaluation process, because we have in our company, everybody at every level. If you've got a video editing process and you find out that you don't really understand it, okay, then basically don't keep going with it. Don't force yourself to learn it, and don't give up, because there's some that are so easy, it's ridiculous. I'll give you a good recommendation though. Go to YouTube, okay, and type in easy ways to edit video, and then don't do anything that looks overly complicated. Pick some ones that they give you some suggestions. Some of the video editing tools are free, and some of them cost a little bit. And the Adobe product is designed for social media. It will work with every platform. I'm going to look up the name while we're
talking. Okay.
Yeah.
She has a second question. This is also from Cindy. At the beginning of the program, you mentioned 4 things to focus on. She heard organic search and transactional advertising. What would be 3 and 4?
Okay, so let's do organic search. That's transactional, means it will sell homes, okay, and does help branding as well. Paid search, which is going to be Google AdWords, okay, to a small degree, some of your social media platforms, but I'm focusing on Google AdWords mostly. Now, if you're saying, well, why not Bing or some of the other ones? It's just because of market share. Bing works just as well, but you're only dealing with, literally about 10% of the market versus Google's 75% of the market. Okay. So that's kind of the reason I keep focusing on Google. That's two. The third one, if you remember, are the e-blasts. That's also transactional. Okay. The other areas are social media, which is a branding play. You can put out 1,000 posts, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell a home, but you will get a little bit of bump. You'll have people contact you if you have some, Facebook forums and things like that. So if you balance out a little bit of the Facebook boosted posts with your organic efforts on social media, you'll see people get to know the brand, and you'll also be able to promote. You'll also be able to get a little bit. I don't expect a lot. Maybe a couple deals in a quarter or 6 months or whatever, as far as leads go. Okay. So what did I say? 3 there, or did I say 4? So we want, okay, we'll do it again. Organic, okay, paid search, e-blast, and social media. There we go. I did do 4. Okay. So social media is critical. I'm not saying not to do it. The efforts are insanely important, but respond. You got to respond. That's like a whole different class. And then each one of those, though, covers all of your bases. How's that?
Excellent. Cindy, if you have additional questions on that, feel free to ask. And did you find the name of the Adobe product yet? I have a second. I have another question. Crosby Sims wants to know, do consumers like to see content of the construction process or just the finished product?
No, they love to see the process. You'll get a whole group. I'm going to give you a kind of an anecdotal experiment that we tried. So I was working with a small in the sense they're not national, but they're large in size in California, but a specialty lumber company that provides lumber packages to home builders. So basically you'll do the design with them, they deliver the packages, and they wanted to see what was going to happen with YouTube. They did a class that DuPont put on. They got permission. The class was an hour on Tyvek wraps, and I tried to watch 40 minutes of it, if that, and I couldn't get through it. It was too techy for me. I mean, for that market, 25% of the searches were full on the full hour. I couldn't believe it. So there will always be a segment that has an interest. I am kind of a junkie at the how it's made kind of stuff. And so I watched a couple of videos of custom builders showing off what makes their stuff a little bit different. And they were showing off the electrical stuff and where they put things and what the difference between them and a national builder were. Those are perfect. Okay. And if you can get that message across in a minute or two, that's fantastic. So a balance is always good. The people want to see a little bit of everything, but it just depends on the person. But you'll definitely still have an interest in the building side, and people are interested in seeing how it's done. It really, and then that talks to the explosion of the all the networks that are fix and flip and things like that.
Excellent. And I have a note here. Is it Adobe Premiere Pro that you're looking for?
No, because that's the complicated one.
Okay.
It is called.
And Crosby says, thank you.
You're very welcome. You're on the right track, but it is desktop and mobile. Let me see. I'm going to the page now.
I don't have any other questions at this
Rush.
point.
There it is. It's called Adobe Rush.
Adobe Rush.
Yes.
RUSH, like I'm rushing the field.
Yeah, or rush the band or whatever you want to think of.
Yeah. Excellent. Does that help you, Cindy? I hope that helps answer your question as far as a good do-it-yourself, simple. Yes, she says, thank you very much for both questions. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right.
And that works mobile too. So just so you know, you could do that on your iPad or whatever, phone or whatever you need to do. But I played with Rush a fair amount, and it's awesome for about 90% of what you need to do.
Oh, excellent. I do have another question from Robbie. If we are already running ads on social and Google AdWords, should we pause or keep running 365 days?
Pause or run 365 days a year? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, or do they keep running the 365 years or 365 days?
365 years, that's awesome. So there's two thought points on that, Robbie. Here's thought point one is we know November and December are going to stink, mostly December, and we're going to be partially into January till we see the value in there. But I'm going to keep running my ads. The advantage to that, in my opinion, is that your competitors do drop off or minimize their budgets. So you're going to get more clicks and more value out of the AdWords for the same amount of money. That's what I love about it. And we always see a bump with our builders in that area. Now, having said that, I'll say this. If you don't have homes that are available, like spec homes that you need to sell, then and you don't have a community to promote, you're kind of in an in-between phase, which I've seen with builders, then I would not pause the ads. And I tell that to my people all the time. And there's a big reason for that, because once you've paused the ads and stopped them, that engine takes a while to get rolling again. And by the time you're ready to get rolling again in January, when the selling season and the interest kind of starts, you're already behind the 8 ball. So you could drop your budget by 25%, just using that as a number. 50% would be a little bit. So you could trim that budget down in some of those advertising places. If I were to pause something to save some money in that period of time, I would consider if I was doing social media ads or something like that. The other area that we've cut, and I'm sorry, Zillow, we are, but if we see communities that are nearly sold out and we know, we need that budget for other things, then we'll pause our Zillow ads in a community and then pick them back up in January. And they might scream and cry, but the bottom line is when you talk to your sales rep and say, hey, I want to do this again, they're like, okay, let's do it. Whereas Google is an AI engine to a degree. There's people behind it too, but it takes a little while for the algorithm to pick up its momentum again and get up and rolling. So I'd recommend cutting if that's what you really want to do, but also remember you're going to get value out of the fact you're going to get more ads for the right price.
And Robbie says, excellent, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, that is all I have for questions today. That was a lot of questions. Good questions, everybody. I really liked it was a good variety of questions too. Ed, do you have anything else you want to add about this topic?
No, I love everything Brad talked about. I love the idea of the videos. When I'm looking at things, I use videos a lot for a lot of different things. I did take some notes, because we are starting to do this on our side as well. So a lot of good stuff. If you have any other questions, I think somewhere along here, Brad's contact is there. I use him a lot as a resource when I'm working with builders. And I used him in my past life, and he still works for my partner and I.
Yes, he does. Well, I'm going to go through just a couple of slides just to close up the program, but I'll leave questions. You can still submit questions if you think of anything. So you have a couple more minutes to think of questions. But I just want to remind everybody, we do have our Scheduling for Profit seminar that is coming up at the end of April 20th and 21st in Denver, Colorado. This is a great program. So many builders have been talking to us about trying to get their cycle time back under control, and we'd love to see you. We have a few spots left. It is filling up. So make sure that you register for that or get your team involved and have them register for that. We also offer several different services that you're aware. We offer our rebate services through builder partnerships where you can earn rebates on some of the products that you're putting into your home, and I'll show a slide with the manufacturers we have relationships with. We also offer training live and in person through live classes, online classes, on-demand classes, webinars, and personal coaching as well. A couple of products that services we offer that often get overlooked is our surveys. So if you're looking to see how you stack up According to your trades, we have a builder of choice survey that we do, so you can see what your trades think of you and start making adjustments in your processes so that you can become the builder of choice in your market. We also have builder groups, and they have become a hot topic lately. We've got a lot of interest in builder groups, and this is basically a support group for home builders. It's a great opportunity to get with builders of like mind and like size in different markets. So you're non-competing, you can open up and really share ideas and help improve your businesses. Here's a list of some of the different companies that we work with, manufacturers that we do offer rebates through, and you're welcome to call us here at the office or send an email to info@builderpartnerships.com for more information. Of course, we have our consulting team and service partners like Brad that you can work with, and you can always call us here at the office or contact us at info@Shinn Consulting for more information on that. Here's our schedule, seminar schedule for the rest of the year. We have our superintendent seminar that's coming up at the end of, or in May, which is pretty close to being sold out. So if you have any superintendents you need to get trained up before the summer hits, we do have one more class available. And then the next one will be in October in New Orleans, along with a managing for profit seminar and production management in Denver. Again, thank you for joining us for Webinar Wednesday. We have a list of webinars that will be on our website under the events tab, webinar section. So be checking back for what webinars we have coming up next. And if you have any questions for our presenters, there's Brad's information, brad@realityconcepts.com or ed@shinnconsulting.com. You will get a thank you for attending our webinar tomorrow, and their contact information will be on that as well. But if you need anything, you're always welcome to contact me directly at ejswilder@shinnconsulting.com, and I'm happy to forward you on to whoever you need to help you out. So with that, thank you guys so much for attending. Brad, Ed, it was a pleasure. I'm so excited that you guys were able to join us today, and I think you have provided a lot of insight to our guests today. So thank you, and we look forward to doing this again soon.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Okay, sounds good. All right.